Alright, hey, what's up, you guys? It's Paul over on APS Plus, and today I'm going to be chatting with Ruxin34. So, nice to have you here. Thanks for being on, taking the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It should be a lot of fun. Who knows what's going to happen? Anything could happen today.
Yeah, I wanted to chat with you because, well, I guess first of all, people maybe should know if they don't already that Ruxin, a fellow YouTuber, a lot of pack openings, specifically you, I feel are a little bit different in that, you're a newer YouTuber. You've only been here for what? I mean, like year and a half, 2 years roughly.
Yeah, I'd say so. I started my channel in 2017, like the late 2017, but it was like not really starting. It actually officially started, but when I actually started doing a lot of openings was like 2019. So it's been like 2 years ish, one and a half, something like that.
Yeah, and also you kind of focus, I'd say, a little bit more on a lot of classic Yu-Gi-Oh openings. I mean, obviously you're opening new products as well, so
Right.
there's like a mix. But I thought it'd be an interesting perspective because that's also something that has been like having a resurgence just in the past year anyway, like interest in just like, trading card collecting more so than just playing, and a lot of like classic packs and everything like that. So for you, real quick, what is like your Yu-Gi-Oh story, so to speak? Like, how'd you get into it originally? Maybe what made you want to make videos about it?
Okay, so I started with Yu-Gi-Oh in I don't know the exact year because I have a kind of a terrible memory. I just kind of like piece stuff together, so I don't know like dates or whatever. But it was early in the game. It was probably 2002, three. I think it was 2002 because I think that's when the McDonald's promos came out. But I think it was
Mm-hmm.
December. So that was my first. I think that was my first pack. Was the McDonald's pack.
Oh
So I
wow.
guess
Hmm.
so. Yeah, I went to McDonald's at some point. I don't know when, and I got a pack, and I got the Millennium Shield, which I thought was really cool. It's the one of the ultra rares of the set, and I really liked it. And they had the little checklist you could look at, and I was like, look at all these cool cards on here. I think there was like 30 cards on there, and I never got to go back to McDonald's to get more, but I always like really liked the cards that I got. So I think that's kind of where it started. I'm not 100% sure because my memory is just awful. But from there, I was collecting cards. I was playing with kids at like church and at school and stuff like that. And we would duel, and I was good for the playground or whatever. So I would beat everybody. I had magic cylinders from like the structure decks, and then no from Invasion of Chaos Special Edition and Gemini Elves. So you had like the 1900s. You flip the trap cards. I had two Raigekis, which was my favorite. So I would be,
Oh
which
my
is not legal,
god, dude.
not legal, but I had one, and then I found another guy with one, and I traded like a ton of stuff so I could get it. So because I was like, I'm never gonna lose if I play two Raigekis, because I didn't know it wasn't legal at that point. So I was beating everybody. I think around 2006 was when I kind of quit because I moved schools, and there was a couple kids there that played still, but I eventually we just kind of just stopped hanging out or whatever. I think one of them left, and then whatever. So we didn't play any more Yu-Gi-Oh, and I kind of got into like basketball and I was already playing soccer, but like more into soccer. So I was playing a lot of sports. So I kind of dropped Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time, and then I didn't ever really think about it at all again until I was like 23, which was I guess 3 years ago at this point, 2007, December 2017. Maybe I was 22 then. I don't know. December 2017, I was sitting at home, and well, actually not at home. I was sitting at school. I was in my master's program and had a lot of extra time. Looked at my phone. Oh, let's look through the app store. Found Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. I haven't played this in like, 11 years or something. Let's check this out. So I started playing it. I was enjoying the game, spending way too much money on it. And at that point, I think I spent like $300 in one day at one point.
Oh my
And
god.
I was like, and I was thinking, this is insane. Why am I spending money on this game? I can't get any money back. So I was like, I'm going to go buy some packs. I think they still sell packs. I'm not sure. So I went out and like found some packs at Walmart, and pulled Chaos Emperor Dragon, the Ultimate Rare version, out of the Duelist pack. And I didn't know about Ultimate Rares at that point because I had some as a kid. I still have one that I had back then, but I didn't know it was an Ultimate Rare. I thought it was just like a Ultra Rare. So I pulled the Chaos Emperor Dragon. I looked it up. I saw it was $30, and I realized it was a different rarity and stuff. And so that was like, wow, these cards are actually still worth a little bit, which is shocking to me. I was like, people are paying $30 for a card. So I was like, okay, why don't I buy more real cards, and that way I can have fun with them, but not lose all of my money. If I want to sell it, which I never did. I still have that card, by the way. I can get some of my money back. And that was kind of how I got from playing the video game that I found randomly on the app. That was just, I looked in the app store, the top 100 on the apps or whatever, like that. Nobody
It
does
just
that. I don't know.
appears. I know.
Yeah, I don't know why I did
I've
that.
done that before. Like I've just been bored, and I'm just like, what's on here? Like, just,
I've done it one time. That was the only time. And I happened to find Duel Links, and look what happens now. And so I went from there, and then I went to the cards, and then I got interested on Instagram is where I started like buying and selling. There's like a vintage community there, and that's
yeah, I've
kind of
seen that.
how that happened. Yeah, so that's kind of how I got into that. And then it became what it is, I guess. I started doing videos later, probably like a year later after that. Because I did Duel Links videos at first. And then I was like, okay, never mind. So I took a big break, and then I went back into like, all right, if I'm gonna open like this old box, I'm gonna record it. And
Hmm.
that was kind of how that started. I opened Ancient Sanctuary First Edition. Was one of my biggest early openings, I would say. And I was like, I need to record this.
Yeah. What are you actually speaking of? Like opening stuff like Ancient Sanctuary. It does seem like you kind of gravitate towards like I guess some of the more like classic stuff, which to me has like a pretty obvious appeal. But sort of comparing and contrasting those two, like which do you like opening more, like the classic packs or maybe some of the modern packs, and like what's your decision around like which packs you open?
Yeah, I definitely like the classics more, but I do. Okay, so I kind of have like, I don't just like them because they're classic. Like Ancient Sanctuary now, it's kind of a boring set, but at the time, it was my first time opening like a vintage box. It was the 11th set. I never opened a top 11, like first 11 set. That's kind of like before they switched to Ultimate Rare. So I was like, this is really cool. It does have a few cool cards, but like it's not a great set overall. Like now, I would probably not prefer to open Ancient Sanctuary compared to like maybe Crossroads of Chaos or something with a Ghost Rare in it, something like that.
Okay.
So I've kind of switched it up now, but early then, just opening an original set was, I mean, it still is cool, but back then it was my first time, so it was really, really awesome. But with the new stuff, I'm a big fan of how, I know a lot of people are not a big fan of this, might be controversial, but they're putting in the chase cards, they're putting in the starlights, they're putting in the ghost rares, they're putting in all that stuff that makes it there where if you open a pack, you have a chance to pull something huge and get like really excited. And I love
Yeah.
that they added that because when I first got back in 2017, 2018, those sets, I call it like the dead period of opening. It was not fun. I know it was probably different for people playing the game because like, oh, I pull this awesome secret rare, it's so exciting, whatever. But when you're like, you don't care about the game at all, you're just trying to see, okay,
Yeah.
let's see if I can pull a really cool card, and the best rarity you can pull is a secret rare, and it's 1 out of 12. So it's not rare, 1 out of 12 you're gonna pull a secret rare. You might pull the one that's worth $60, which is really cool. The cool part about the starlights and the ghosts is if you hit one of those, it's like a lottery. Like it's like hitting a lottery. And then with the ghost rares and the starlights, I just love how both of them look. So it's like a double whammy. It's one is super rare, two they look awesome, and collector rares as well. I think they're cool. I like collector's rares because they're a little bit easier, but they're also still pretty hard to pull. You got to open like 72 packs or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so I actually just that's a great point to make. Really, is like the whole like lottery card thing because I've always had like not like negative opinions on it. I mean, I know like some people don't like it because they feel like maybe the sets themselves aren't like great, like as competitive
Yeah.
sets go or whatever. But I actually do think that the lottery thing is cool, like for content creators especially. Like
Right.
if you're a player, you get like a cool experience and like a rush because oh yeah, you pulled a collector's, you pulled a starlight, whatever. But I actually think that like as content, it makes content like way more interesting.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
in like 2016, I remember they changed packs to where like you got a super in every pack, and then like they also made like boxes super rigid where it's like 4 ultras, 2 secrets, almost all the time. And like
Yeah.
it's like cool because it's consistent. So if like you're buying a lot of them as a player, that's like a nice thing, I guess. But I did think that like because that was back when I was doing a lot more like product opening videos and stuff, and I was like, this is so boring now. Like
Right.
just as a video, it's like there's no ghost anymore, there's no ultimate anymore. It's just like I'm gonna pull 2 secrets, I'm gonna pull 4 ultras, and like once I've pulled those, the box is done, and like I guess there's
Yeah.
just like nothing like fun about it. And
Yeah.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. Well, after Dimension Chaos, I think was the last Ghost Rare set. So like
Yeah, I want to
it
say
was,
yeah.
yeah, 2016 through Rising Rampage. It was like that. It was like 3 years of
Yeah.
that's not fun to open. So when I had gotten in, that everyone in the vintage community is like, new sets are garbage. They're not fun at all. And I was like, yeah, I mean, they really aren't. They aren't fun to open. It doesn't provide an incentive for people that are not playing to open packs. So that's why I do like what they changed up recently.
Actually, that's a great one too. Is I want kind of your take on this. So, you know, opening packs for maybe vintage appeal and collection versus sort of opening packs as more of like a competitive player or like a active player. What's have you like had any sort of overlap with that in your audience? I'm sure you have, and like has that what are the different points of view with that you've seen?
So are you asking like, have I seen like a lot of people opening just because they enjoy the opening versus trying to get cards to play? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, a bit of that, and like also, what is your audience like? Do you get like people maybe in your comments or whatever who are sort of like open more like just new stuff, or like or like maybe they don't fully appreciate why opening like an old ultra rare or something is, what I mean, like is as impactful
Yeah.
as it is.
Not too many, because a lot of my most of my audience, not most, but a lot of my audience is mostly old school, or people that have seen my videos and started watching because they remember it,
Hmm.
versus like meta. I don't think I have a ton of people that are purely new pack open people, which I do have people that play and stuff like that, but they also enjoy the old stuff. So I think it's mostly that, or people that don't even play. I have a lot of people that say I don't even play Yu-Gi-Oh, or I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't now, and I just enjoy watching the openings and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
so I, but I have seen that a lot of those people enjoy opening the new stuff now, because they'll say, I just went and bought a pack because of your video and I pulled the Ghost Rare Dark Magician, or I just went and bought some packs because of your video and I just pulled a Starlight, and they'll send me like a tweet, or they'll like message me on Instagram or whatever and show me. And a ton of people said like, this is my fourth pack I've opened in the last 15 years or something, and they pulled a Ghost Rare. It's hilarious because it's like,
Yeah.
wow, like they saw my video and they went and pulled an $800 card just because they saw the video, and it's really cool.
Also, so as YugiTube goes, what's been like your experience with YugiTube? Because it's kind of one of those things, at least for me, where like I almost feel like we all start making videos for our own like reason or whatever. Like, oh, I just got back in Yu-Gi-Oh, or I wanted to put a camera in front of a card in some way, and then like you kind of find yourself within the community and within like the norms of it and everything. Like, has that been like a positive or a negative, or just sort of, I mean, I guess it's not fully positive or fully negative, but like, what have been your experiences with that? Like being recognized as like a Yugi tuber.
For a long time, I would say, I don't know. It's interesting because I mostly would early on I'm friends with a lot of like Pokemon YouTubers, just because I enjoy watching Pokemon YouTube or whatever, and I watch that as well as Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time. But for like Yu-Gi-Oh, there's like it feels like there's two separate sections. There's the vintage Yu-Gi-Oh, and then there's the newer Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. But it has blurred a lot, like in the past year, with all the sort of like it's kind of converted with like SEMO doing all those different series. They're kind of like old school, so a lot of people are watching those, and it's not purely like meta relevant. And then there's like just like the vintage stuff. So there's not a lot of people that do purely vintage stuff. So I was kind of
Yeah.
like the main guy, I would say, for that. And then so for a while I didn't like know anybody. Like I did, and on Twitter I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh is very active on Twitter. I didn't know that, and
Yeah.
I didn't use my Twitter for like until this year. So I didn't know, like, I've never talked to you. I'd never talked to SEMO, and like obviously, um, with COVID and everything, I've never met anybody. I've met a few people now, but I've never met anybody. I've hardly talked to anybody until this year, and now I've talked to a few people over like Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. But I had never talked to anybody. So like I was kind of like I was like a Yugi tuber, but I wasn't in the regular Yu-Gi-Oh community maybe until like this year. And so I'm a little bit more into it now because just because of the whole, COVID. I'm
Yeah.
doing vintage that nobody else is doing. It has nothing to do with meta relevant stuff, so there's no really reason to like, you know, interact or whatever. So it took a while for that to happen, but I enjoy everyone that I've talked to. Everybody's really nice and all that stuff. It just there wasn't a reason, there wasn't any events, stuff like that until like the last few months or whatever.
Yeah, I've actually always found like within because like for myself, I've kind of been like doing a transition over the past just few years of content with trying to kind of cover less of that core Yu-Gi-Oh game and more of like the kind of some nostalgia, kind of some like fun and stuff like that. And I've always found that while it's pretty enjoyable for me, I know like for some like viewers and stuff, it can be a little bit confusing. Like I sometimes like I'll go on like your videos and sometimes I read the comments and I almost feel like there might be like a weird dissonance of like people who assume like I'm sure you see that more of your own comments than I do. Like there are people who maybe assume that like you must be like rigging these packs or you
Yeah.
must be like faking these openings or like lying about something like that. Like I noticed that that was something that I saw a lot more of when I got actually more into a more casual and like nostalgic type of content is I
Yeah.
sometimes feel like there's like people who are always like, oh, you guys must be like you know lying about like what you got on some eBay mystery box or something. Like
Right, right.
how do you like deal with that type of comment, like people who just think like you must be faking this or something like that?
Yeah, you know how it is on YouTube. There's always going to be a lot of crap comments, and there's
Yeah.
just nothing you can do with somebody that comes in with that sort of viewpoint. If they think you're faking it, or if they think that you um, are ripping somebody off, or whatever they think the deal is, they think something nefarious is going on, and there's really nothing you can do about it. So usually I just tend to ignore those kind of comments. More more than those, I always for a long time people just assumed that I was rich because I was opening all this stuff, and I was like, not really. I just have sold a lot of stuff. So I mean, I've been selling, open something and then I grade it. And for a long time, you could actually grade stuff and sell stuff and get most of your money back. It's a lot harder to do that now with how much they're
Yeah.
charging for grading, how hard they're grading stuff. So it's a lot harder now. Like I used to be able to grade, something and I would get a 10 like half the time rather than 10% of the time. And it would cost me $20 to grade the card, not $200 to grade the card. So
Yeah,
that,
I actually want. Okay, that's a whole thing that like we have to talk about. The card game boom of like 2020. You're probably far more, informed about this than I am, at least. What is like? What are your overall thoughts on that? Like, just the big Pokemon boom, how it's kind of trickled into other card games too. I know Yu-Gi-Oh's had some of it. Even like random new games like Digimon and stuff have had like a degree of it. Sports cards too. There's like the Target stuff, and you see the stories at Walmart, like whatever, like people fighting over cards or like shooting over cards. Like, what do you think about all of it? I know it's
uh,
very general, but
yeah, it's very general, but it was a crazy time. So it was weird because it was this weird dynamic where it was exciting that cards were so popular. Like it was mainstream. And I think that I and probably you benefited a lot for the YouTube wise from everyone being so interested in cards. A lot
yeah,
of people were finding our channels. That's a great thing, all that stuff. But there was also the negative connotation, like so many people were talking about scalpers and how they hate scalpers, how they can never find anything to buy, and there was just a lot of negativity around when it was so large.
yeah,
Like everyone was into it, everyone was doing all that crazy stuff. People were mad about it, and that's what I didn't like about it. I didn't like that cards were kind of in a negative light for a
yeah,
long time. They were popular, and people were making tons of money off them, and that was like, some people are not okay with you making money on cards. Same thing with in general. People don't want some people to make money, and then some people are okay with it. So it kind of split the community of people watching a lot. So I didn't like that about it. I did like how popular, it's nice because like everyone who now when people would ask me about cards, they were actually interested rather than like, you like Yu-Gi-Oh, that stuff like that,
yeah.
so it's a lot more people understood a lot more about it, but there was the negative light about scalping and all that stuff. So it was a it was iffy. I kind of like that it's died down a little bit because now it just feels like we're just kind of back to how it was,
Yeah.
and it's not so crazy. But I did like how it was mainstream kind of. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was always cool to me, like just seeing it in the headlines. Like I got like a weird pleasure when I would sort of
Yeah.
see, like, even if it's like these horrible things like Target to stop selling like trading cards or whatever, but it's also like, well, but yeah, I mean, like people are thinking about trading cards right now, so like that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And I think like for like you said, for our channels, it's probably helped a bit because it's just like you get some new eyes, and even though the hype has died down, a lot of those new eyes are still
Yeah,
like
hanging around.
there, and so they're like, oh, okay, this is cool. Something I saw actually was like people would blame like content creators kind of for the
Yeah.
hype. I mean, how much of that do you
Saw
feel
a
is?
lot
Do
of that.
you feel like how much of that do you think is like valid? Like, it's the content
Uh,
creators' fault that these prices are doing this, and
I don't.
they're hyping it all up and they're just profiteering. Like, do you think that's like true, or like maybe to some degree?
I don't think that it's the content creator's fault. I do think that they played a role. So we played a role because everyone's talked about this when everyone's watching a lot more YouTube during COVID and all that stuff. So it's the content creator's fault because they made videos about the cards and that's how people found out about it. But I don't think that most content creators were trying to create a tons of hype for all the cards and do all this crazy stuff. I didn't hear anyone say anything like that personally. So I think
Yeah,
that just more people heard that, oh, you can possibly make money with cards, and they're like, I have nothing else to do. Why would I not try and do this? It's nostalgic. I can potentially make money and have the nostalgia. I mean, that's like a win-win. You get to enjoy something from 20 years ago as well as make money doing it. So I think people heard that and they were like, hey, that sounds like a good idea for me. And then some people took it way too far. And then there's always going to be the people that, all right, what's the source of the blame? Let's find it. It has to be
yeah.
content creators. It's their fault. So I think there's always going to be people blaming content creators for whatever. So I don't think it was really their fault, but they did play a role in what happened.
Yeah, when I think about just the Yu-Gi-Oh community in general, like Yu-Gi-Tubers for years have been like accused of, like market manipulate. Whenever I read stuff like that, I'm always kind of like, I think people sometimes maybe assign more influence to content creators than like we necessarily have. Like I know, like the channel House of Champs,
Right.
like he always like he'll like tweet and stuff about like how there's these people in his comments, they're always just like you are pumping and dumping this card and like it's all your fault, and, like you're just saying this because you want. It's like I don't really know that like anyone is even like has enough influence to do that or would care that much. Like I don't know. I
Right.
mean, it probably maybe it happens in the deep dark like crevices of the internet, but then I think at that point that wouldn't be. I don't know. Like, what do you think? I mean, do you think like maybe people are just searching for kind of something to just the blame game or
It just seems like for me on YouTube, I've noticed this now that I've made like 600 videos. You've made tons of videos, so if you don't say something every single video, then there will be tons of people that only take that one video into context or that 2 minutes of the video. Like they skip through, they watch 2 minutes, and then they make an assumption and write it on in the comments. So obviously, like with House of Champs, that guy's not pumping and dumping. The guy doesn't even like sell much anymore. He just gives the update in the market, and then people come in and act like he's pumping and dumping because they watched, the part where he hyped something up and then saw that it got sold or something. They just like make a major assumption based on like 2 minutes of what they saw, and that tends to happen a lot in YouTube. From what I've noticed, people
yeah,
will say
definitely.
something about me, and I'm like, "Did you not watch the last 3 videos?" And I'm like, "Of course they didn't watch the last 3 videos. Why would I even ask that?"
Yeah,
They watch this video. That's what they watch, and they're super angry about something, and they make something up, and it just obviously does not fit with. If you've watched more than one video, it would be obvious. But obviously, people are not going to do that. They're just gonna put their opinion down there. Some people, not everybody, but the 2% or whatever it is, will put their opinion down in there without any sort of backup. I've always liked to check what I'm saying before I type it on the internet, but a lot of people don't like to do that. They like to just send it and just be wrong.
Type and hit send, done.
Mhm.
I guess a more positive, or I don't know if it's a positive, a different sort of topic is what is it like purchasing the products that you use for videos? This is something that I've always been like, because the price of classic stuff has just increased, and I mean naturally, I've been doing more like classic stuff. So I've been having to
Yeah.
purchase these old like structure decks, and like I found out the hard way that the stuff's really expensive sometimes,
Yeah.
and like like I had an idea once where I wanted to do like a real life progression series, and I was like, oh okay,
Oh
like
yeah.
we'll start off with LOB, and I was like, oh yeah, that's not gonna,
If you ever
that's
do
not gonna
that, hit
work,
me up. We can make it happen. We'll figure
bro.
it
Like
out.
that stuff's expensive, and I was just like,
It's so you just got to use unlimited. I think that's the
yeah,
key there.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I
Yeah,
wasn't,
you can't go
yeah.
first edition. You'll die.
What is it like? Like, what are the? I mean, I'm sure you have maybe people you can get some of the stuff from at like a much better rate, but like, what is the process of just sort of buying packs? Like, how far in advance do you buy things before maybe you plan on opening them, or how do you like handle the price of just how expensive this old stuff is? I know you said you do a lot of like selling of what you pull to sort
Right.
of
Well,
fund.
for the first, so like through 2020, I never like sold anything. I opened everything for myself, and it was just insane. So that was even before like some of the prices were starting to come up, but I bought everything. I would open it. I would take a loss, and I would sell some stuff or whatever. And that was really hard. That was really hard to do. So this year I started doing some box breaks, which has really helped me. So I can do like a box break. I can sell it to viewers, and that way like I come out without being like down $2,000 or whatever for the big openings. So that has really helped this year. In terms of actually getting the stuff, um, it's not like I don't have like a go-to. I just have some people that'll send me messages and say, "Hey, I have this box. Do you want to buy it?" And then like if it's like around a decent price, I'll buy it. But some people will come to me and they'll want like, way more than what it's worth, or what it's just not worth me buying it or whatever. And if I'm going to use like it for a box break, then I want it to be like at least around the market price, so people aren't paying like an insane amount to buy a pack or whatever. Um, and then for like some things I'll like put out that I'm looking for it, but the problem with doing that is then people know that you want it, and then they want
Yeah,
you to pay
they'll mark it
more.
up.
So yeah, like when I said I'm going to do every special edition recently, I put it on Instagram, and then I realized it was a mistake. I should just buy it on eBay if I can find it. I was like, I'm just gonna buy it the lowest one on eBay, and it'll be a lot easier. Um, but yeah, it's just stuff like that. In terms of advance, I try to get like a week ahead, but sometimes I don't. And but sometimes I'll have something that I'll sit on for like a month. I've been sitting there and I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? I should save it for like a special occasion or something like that. So it's just kind of like that. Somehow I end up posting a video every day, and I'm not that organized.
Yeah, okay. Tell me that is something crazy about you. You have uploaded what did you say? You've uploaded once a day for the past like what is
I think as of today, I think it's 157 days in a row, and it's not even I'm not even like intentionally doing that. I just feel like I need to post a video every day. And so I try to have something ready. The last time I missed, I actually had a video edited for that day, but I was going to buy a guy's collection, and I told him, I was like, these conditions are not what we agreed on. So I'm going to return it. So because I returned it, he wouldn't let me post the video because he got kind of mad that I did that. So I didn't actually get to post a video that day. So that was the last time I missed. I actually would be on like a 200 something day streak probably if I had counted that day and actually posted it.
how does that level of work ethic, like how do you handle it? Like I mean I know like some people post quite frequently, and I mean I really should probably post more often myself. But like
Y'all are doing fine. I think you'll be all right.
but like how do you handle that? Like just like do you film a lot in advance, or is it like do you, because like I know like I used to do like sort of batch like recording days, and it would just be like, okay, we're gonna
Right.
record like 5 videos today or whatever, and then just schedule it out over the next week or two. Do you kind of is it more of like a living thing, like you just record and then next day and you record and then upload and then record and then upload, or is it?
Well, so I've done a lot of different stuff. I used to do more of the batch stuff, but the problem with the batch stuff is you can't like, if there's something happening tomorrow, you can't like mention it in the video or
Yeah.
whatever. So that is why I didn't really like doing that so far ahead. I did it for a while, like probably like early 2020, I was doing that more, and that was like, I mean, I was still pretty early. Like I had just had a boom, for my channel, and I was still pretty young in terms of like actually having an audience watching or whatever. But recently, I usually will have to plan. So like, if I'm playing basketball the next night, and I know there's no way I can record, I can only edit. Like I'll have to come home and edit. Then I record 2 videos. So I record one for the next day, and then one that I can edit when I get back home at night or whatever. So I plan like that. So occasionally I'll do like 1 or 2 videos based on, but I try not to get too far ahead so that I can, keep up with live events and all that stuff, so that it feels like I'm actually, you can contact me at any point. 1 second, I'm about to plug my computer in.
Yeah, no worries.
Because it's on low battery.
Just while you're doing that, I was just gonna say, yeah, I remember I used to be like on a nearly daily grind, and I was always just like, oh my gosh, like this is, I mean, it's pretty fun and it's pretty fulfilling, and like it definitely, I definitely think that like it like bolsters growth for sure. I feel like that's actually one of the things for you specifically. Like I feel like you've like really blown up really fast. Like, and a lot of people really like this stuff, and like if they like it, they're getting a new video every single day. So like the moment they engage with you, they are now like promised a video the next day and like the next day, and like so that's pretty exciting. Have you this is I guess just more of like a YouTube thing. Have you considered like an editor or like, any major thing like that to take some of the work off yourself?
Well, yeah, so I didn't finish everything I was saying
Oh
because of
yeah,
this computer
okay.
thing. But yeah, but basically, yeah, because of the comments that are like, I love that you post every day. And that just kind of like, okay, I feel like I should post because, I mean, people are enjoying it. It's not like killing me to do it. Usually, I will, if I don't have time, I will not upload a video. But I usually, if I plan just enough ahead, I know, okay, if I get back at 11 o'clock tonight, I can edit and make a thumbnail by 1 a.m. or whatever it is, like
I've been
I'll
there.
go to bed.
I've been there.
Yeah, yeah, just I know if I can handle it or not. So I have missed a couple of days, but occasionally I usually try not to, as I'm still working, so I'm just part time or whatever. So I work, then I come home, and that's when I do all my YouTube stuff. Um, what was your question again?
I was just asking if you were considering like maybe like being an editor or anything like that.
I've thought about it before, but I feel like my edits aren't that hard, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty quick at it. So it hurts me to pay someone to do it when like I could just
Yeah.
do it. You know what I mean? I know at some point it'll probably be it would probably still be
Oh,
beneficial
there
to do
goes
it
my
now.
camera. It's overheating. It's okay. Just you keep talking and I'll fix it.
Technical difficulties. Yeah, well, it's like I know it's probably beneficial for me to actually get an editor. I could probably do more stuff. I could have more time for other stuff. But right now it just hurts me. It's like I would pay somebody. And here's the real problem I don't like with editors. I've heard horror stories. You send it off to your editor, and then you're ready to post a video, and they don't have it ready. So and the thing about it is I can control it. I can control when it gets done. It's like, all right, it's getting done because I'm doing it. So if I send it off to the editor and they're not ready, I'm like, well, no video.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit scary to me. I don't want to end up having no video. It pains me when I miss a video because of something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, just speaking sort of from my experience with that too. I've had an editor for a bit now, and like I think the toughest part early on, and like you said, like I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh videos in general aren't super involved to edit, so it's not like you would have to have one. But like early on, I feel like just the idea of like relinquishing some of the creative control to like somebody where it's like hopefully they edit kind of the same way that I would edit this, or like present it sort of the same way I would. That's always a little bit weird at first, and then like like timing and sometimes like they might be busy, and then if you need a video turned around like for the next day or something really quick like that, it's like problematic. I mean, but with your channel growing as fast as it is, and like literally, I mean, I feel like 100K subs is like probably right around the corner for you, like here in just the next few months, really, maybe sooner, and all that. Do you have any big plans for like how you might want to change, anything with your content, any major projects or just upgrades, anything like that? Or you're kind of just like, this is good?
So I'm always trying to think of new things I can do. So I would love to. I've been trying to come up with some sort of series I can do. I don't have a great idea for it yet, but I do have some crazy openings like that I've scheduled for this month that I'm super excited about. I'll just go through them just for the fun of it. But this weekend, we're opening every 2004 10. I've done that before. I've done 2002 10s. I've done 2003 10s. I've done 2005 10s. So I always want to try and do something I've never done before. So 2004 10s, I'm going to open all 6 of them. I've never done that before. The next weekend is when Dawn of Majesty comes out. Starlight, Stardust. I'm planning on opening packs live until we pull it. So the ratio is 1 in 10 cases. So I bought 10 cases. So we're gonna be opening a long time. I've got that planned. I did that for a Ghost Rare. I opened until we pulled a Ghost Rare, and everyone loved the stream. So I was like, you know what would be fun? Starlight Stardust. I mean, that's like even harder to pull.
Yeah.
It's an iconic monster. It just came out. It's going to be brand new. So I thought that's going to be a lot of fun. So I figured maybe I'll do more stuff like that in the future, like when a new big nostalgic reprint, but a new rarity comes out. Maybe we'll do a 12-hour live. I mean, I'm predicting it could be 12 hours. I hope it's not, but it might be like that.
It might be a while. I mean, like
right. If I open 10 cases by myself, I think the fastest I could go is a case per hour, and obviously there's going to be a slowdown as it goes. So I think it could be 12, 13, 14 hours if I don't pull it.
Oh, that'll be fun, though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be – I'm actually super excited about it. But obviously it is really expensive, first of all.
Yeah.
And then it's expensive. But the good thing is, it's kind of like a breaker. I can sell everything but the Stardust if I need to hopefully get a lot of my money back or whatever. So that's kind of the plan for that. In the next weekend, I hope I will have every special edition by then. I have almost all of them.
That's
plus
so crazy to me. Just like, that is so many of those classics.
Yeah, and the thing about special editions, it's weird because like when I did every pack, everyone knows what a pack is. If it's in a pack, it's a pack. Special edition, it's more of a loose term. It's like, what is a special edition? Is Forbidden Legacy a special edition? I'm counting it as one.
Forbidden Legacy. Which one's? That's the one where it's like, it's in like the big kind of flat thing, and yeah.
And it's not called special edition, but it has.
But it has 3 packs, and it's got a promo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it retailed for like $10 on release, right?
Yeah, and I paid $300 for it.
So isn't that great?
So I just got that, but I figured, okay, it's not a special edition, but it will make the video way better. But it is kind of a special edition, so I included that. I included Light and Darkness Power Pack. I included,
I remember that.
Raw Yellow Mega Pack. There's like 15. Oh, the Ultimate Edition 1 is actually the only one I'm missing right now. The one with the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and 2 Dark Revelation 2 packs.
Oh, I remember that.
I need that one. There's the Creator one, which is Dark Revelation 3 packs, and it has the Creator. I think that's called Ultimate Edition 2. That might be a European thing. That's probably why I can't find it so easily. But like there's all these crazy random things. You know all about these old weird products.
Dude, it's kind of crazy. Like you're talking about this, and I'm like going down memory lane of like me being in Books A Million or like just some store and like seeing like that Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon like special edition. Like I remember seeing that stuff, and like I was like crazy because when I was a kid, like I couldn't buy this, but now it's like YuGiOh is my career or whatever, and if I wanted to, I could probably hunt these things down and like just for my personal pleasure open this for the first time. I don't know, it just sounds crazy.
Yeah, that's what I really like about this special edition opening is if I get all these ones. I mean, everyone remembers these products because like that's the stuff that was on the shelves. It was these weird like blister packs with like a couple of packs in the promo, and you're like, I want that promo, I'm buying that.
Yeah, like, I think people understate like how cool the idea of like the promos was. Like just do you know what's something that I feel like Konami has. Sorry to cut off if you had any other things, by the way, that you were talking about, like that you were going to be doing. But it's just a quick aside. Konami doesn't do like a lot of like promo-y stuff anymore, and I feel like even like the special editions and even the starter and structure decks like no longer have like the cutout window. You know?
Yeah, I know.
And I mention this in every video, but I'm like, that's what made Yu-Gi-Oh like pretty cool as a kid. Like when you'd go and on the shelf and like just the Light and Darkness Dragon, like you could see the sparkly shininess and like you know that the card's in there. Something about that made it such a more enticing buy, like as a kid or whatever.
Right. I still remember one of my earliest memories. I don't remember when it was. I guess it was okay. And I had to have been in 2002. Okay, or maybe this was 2003. The Joey starter deck when you could see not Joey. Sorry, Pegasus starter deck when you could see Relinquish out of there. I remember being like, I have to get this. This is the coolest looking card. And I eventually did get it.
Yes.
But I was like, you can see him. I was like, this is gonna be so awesome when I get it. And just that cutout was huge. It was so
It's
much
everything.
better.
Like especially because like I think of like starter deck Yugi, starter deck Kaiba. It's like you got the character, it's like Kaiba standing there, and then like the blue eyes is there. Like you see the blue eyes as like you just finished watching the show. So just
Right.
ignore
They
my
need
camera.
to bring
It's
the show back
doing what it
too.
wants. But yeah, like they just all of that stuff. Like it makes a much bigger difference than I think people talk about. And like Konami's even cut that out of the tins. Do you remember like Xarian Universe tin and like
Yes.
all these
Yep.
old tins where it would be like the monster art and like that's embossed, and then like you had a little cutout and like the monster's there too, and it's just like
Yeah, the 2004 tins have that. That's what I'm opening
that's
this week. And I
insane.
just got them. They look so cool. Like even 2004 was pretty. It was pretty weak in terms of the promos, but even then they look awesome. They have like the Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight. I mean, you could see him cut out.
Exactly.
He's got that weird shaped tin. They even switched up the tins, and I remember being like, "What is going on with these tins?" I was like, "They're so
Yeah.
cool. I still want them."
And I think like that's the thing Konami needs to bring back. Like if like I think like given that Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of getting a bit of a resurgence in popularity, not like a huge one, but like there's definitely increasing interest in this. I think that would be like a really good time to kind of try to fashion the products more like that 2002 to
Yeah.
2006 7 era where like just cutouts of cards, tins have like the monster embossed on them,
Yeah.
structure and starter decks kind of have the character and like I would be for that. Like honestly, I think that would be
yeah, that would be great.
it
And-
would make opening them fun too.
Oh yeah, I would love even if they did. Like I know people don't like when they do Blue Eyes and Dark Magician stuff anymore,
Yeah.
but it would be so cool, if they come out with some new Blue Eyes card or whatever, and it's just in the tin and it's got like a cutout. That would be awesome. I really think that it would be cool. I think you tweeted this if they did an anime reboot or whatever, the original.
Dude, I feel like
And
they
then-
need to.
And then they could bring out so many products like that, like tins and starter decks that go with the new show. That's like the reboot or whatever.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it would it would kill it. It would
Yeah.
absolutely kill it.
I think that's something that people don't like. I mean, I don't want to like rant about it too much, but I do feel like some of the newer like animes lack a little bit of that like. I guess that X factor that the old one had. I don't know if it's like the characters. I don't know if it's maybe just the way they're like, designing the products or whatever. But I just think like a reboot of like those classic characters and then like kind of rebranding some products a bit to look a little bit more flashy and feature those characters on them, have the cutouts.
Yeah.
We could definitely be doing really well with that. And actually, speaking of Konami, I know people have like super mixed opinions about Konami. How do you feel about like their handling of like these of the like the product stuff? Because you open products. I know you're not really like too involved with like the format or whatever the meta is, but
Yeah.
like, do you feel like I know you mentioned earlier that you like the lottery card sort of thing, which I do too. Do you feel like products in the past year, 2 years have been like good, bad? What maybe changes or improvements would you like to see, like on Konami's end?
So I know that recently the products have been bad, like meta-wise. A lot of them have been.
Yeah.
Like I know Ghost from the Past was a letdown besides the Ghost Rares and stuff like that, which I would rather see it at least have the Ghost Rares than just be bad. So it was still fun. But I obviously do want the set to be better. I don't want them to have a terrible product because even then, like pulling the Ghost Rares, you only get those one out of a case or whatever. So then the rest of the set's kind of junk. So I think they're doing better, like in terms of at least if you're opening kind of a bad set, at least you have a chance to pull something that can make you your money back, or you pull a huge pull and you are happy, you can sleeve it up and grade it or whatever you want. I'm glad that they've added that, but I think if they can find a perfect balance, where they actually make the sets pretty good,
Yeah.
and they have that. So I think like Rise of the Duelist obviously was a huge one. It was really good, and it had Starlights in it. which it didn't have anything crazy. I think DD Crow was the special one. It didn't have like nostalgia big time, but I thought that was a great set. It was still fun to open because there was insane amounts of value. It was like you're always pulling good stuff.
One of the sets I never liked was actually Rage of Ra. I know you probably have
yeah.
That one was like a perfect example of what you're saying, of like they threw this ghost rare in there, but the set otherwise was just like, ugh.
I think there was okay, so this would never happen, but I was thinking afterwards, because they only put one ghost rare in there. Here's the thing about putting one ghost rare in a set. It's still kind of like, okay, I buy one case and I get the ghost rare. Not that great. That's what I did like about Ghosts from the Past. 5 ghost rares.
Right.
You buy a case, you get one of the ghost rares. You might get the Dark Magician, you might not. So it's like you have no idea what you're going to get. I think that's really fun. I think Rage of Raw had a good opportunity. They could have had a ghost rare Genzo. They could have put ultimate rares in. I know they're not going to do this. They could have put an ultimate rare Genzo. We've never gotten that. Ultimate rare Genzo as a second chase, something like that.
Yeah.
I think they could have done... Since they pretty much didn't give us, I think the value's coming back up on the set, but it was garbage at the beginning. They could have done some cool stuff, like maybe make the Egyptian God Slime a ghost rare, maybe make it an ultimate rare, a collector rare. Like they could have done more than just the ghost rare to make that set pretty cool. So if like they made the Egyptian God Slime, let's say they don't want to do ultimate rares, make it a collector rare and mix in the ghost and the collector rare sets. I don't think they need to have Starlight set, ghost set, and
collector set.
They don't have to be separate. I think they could all be in one.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I feel like they kind of like rotate between these, and it's like I don't hate that or anything. Like it doesn't, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's like we could really mix and match these rarities and make it fun for people. And I do like. I'm a fan of collector's rares in terms of like how they look and stuff. They feel like they're kind of a spiritual successor to ultis, but then like we don't actually get them in main sets. So It's always like the spin-off. I don't know. I think that I like your idea more, where you can make a lot of products more interesting by simply just having like a mix. Like you can just pull a few different cards in Ghost or a few different cards in like, collector's rarity, like pull some Starlight stuff. I think that's an area Pokemon has also got, like YuGiOh, a little bit beat in terms of like creative rarities. Not being well. I mean, I don't know. It kind of depends on like what you value and how a card looks and feels. Because I do think YuGiOh has done better, but yeah.
I think they're doing pretty good in terms of the rarities, and like the Japanese sets where you can pull collector rare, Starlight. I don't know if they have a ghost rare as well, but they like kind of mix them together. If they did that in English, I really like I like collector rare, I like ghost rare, I like Starlight rare, and they're all different tiers. Like one every 3 boxes, one every 12 boxes, one every 25 boxes. They could put them all in one set and just make it can you imagine if you could get like, maybe they could do like, okay, this is a collector card, so we'll make it a collector rare, or we'll make it a ghost rare, but this, meta card that's going to be really good, we'll make it the Starlight rare of the set. So it's like they could do it like that, or they could switch it up and have like, all right, we're reprinting Ash Blossom. We're going to make it a ghost rare in this one. We're going to make it collector rare. Or you could have it as all 3 like they used to do with the ultimate rares. They had secrets, ultimates, and ghosts. You could have 3 different options. That way, if you're a player, you're like, I don't want to open 25 boxes to get my card. Okay, well, you have the lower rarity, secret rare. You pull 1 out of every 12. You get a secret 1 out of every 12 boxes or whatever. And then if you get lucky, you hit the collector rare. You hit the ultimate rare. Or whatever they do, the ghost rare, the Starlight rare. I mean, they can do so many cool things where there's like 5 different versions in the same set. But I don't think they want to do that because they want to save it. They're probably thinking, okay, if we make 5 rarities here, there's no longer any need for us to reprint it later as a ghost rare and hype up the set because we have the ghost rare Ash Blossom now, because we already made the collector rare, the ghost rare, and the Starlight rare in the same set.
So they're, I guess, like looking for
that's
that.
what they're thinking.
They want you to kind of, I guess, be like in for the long haul. You gotta like, buy this product, then buy this one next time, and then like, and then buy this one next time, and then buy this one next time. Like,
that's what I think they're thinking, because if they have so many tickets to make the box good, like, because remember DMG was hyped for Ghosts from the Past. It didn't make it, obviously, because why add DMG when there's already Dark Magician, BLS, and Alternative Blue Eyes? Because they're already locked
Yeah.
in at it being an amazing set. Let's save DMG, that
Yeah,
can make
and
an entire another set.
and you know she's gonna like be one of those. Like
Oh,
yeah,
just the
DMG's
DMG
like
will sell the entire set.
she's probably gonna be in like next spring's sort of equivalent set like that or something. Like it wouldn't surprise me if not
I
like
wouldn't
this
be
fall or something.
I would be shocked if they waited after how much hype they saw that made. That just the DMG announcement made those cases like $1,000.
Yeah.
And it didn't even actually, it wasn't even in there. So
Yeah.
they're like, they got to be thinking, all right, we got to do this soon. Like, this is a cash cow. We got to do it.
Yeah, what's the next set that you're looking forward to this year? I know you're opening a lot of Dawn of Majesty.
Yeah.
What about like this Maximum Gold thing? Do you think they're gonna do something kind of like that here?
Okay, I got to get into Maximum Gold. Okay.
Okay, let's hear it.
I've been seeing a lot on Twitter. It's so many people have decided that they loved the old Gold series. And I don't remember anybody ever loving the Gold series until Maximum Gold came out. And now everybody's like, Maximum Gold sucks. The old Gold is the way to go. And I'd never heard that until like recently, and now all of a sudden it's the new thing to say that you hate Maximum Gold. You really like the old Gold. But I'm like, okay, the original Gold did look good, but then when you got into the reprints and started looking brown, I was like,
yeah, I didn't.
No.
I 10,000,000% agree. I remember actually when the very first Gold series came out, and it looked pretty interesting. I guess like it looked nice. I suppose.
They don't age well either. They look bad when they get older.
Yeah, and then as those products came out, I felt they just kind of got worse with each one. I think that like when they started adding the secret foiling with the gold thing, I think that looked gross. They did the gold ghost rarity, which I wasn't a big fan of. I know some people kind of liked it. I didn't like that. I agree that Maximum Gold last year also kind of looked poopy, but like it. Oh, I think like what I didn't like about Maximum Gold last year, when they were showing the preview images before the set came out, like it was just like leaked images, I guess, or whatever. They looked really good in pictures, but then when I got my hands on the cards, I didn't like the kind of plasticky like polishiness to it, or whatever that it has. But then they said that the Europrint versions of those don't have that quality to them, so maybe those are better.
When I opened. So I kind of did like how they looked a little bit, but what I noticed with Maximum Gold is if you I use a lot of penny sleeves, which people will get mad about that because they don't fit, but I use penny sleeves, and when you put it in a penny sleeve and you try and take it out, it literally sticks in there, like not long later. It's like,
wait, are you serious? I didn't know this.
No, they will, okay, I have some around here, it's probably can't dig it out, but they were literally, if you try and get it out, that gold stuff sticks to the thing. It doesn't rip off yet, but it's only been a few months. So I'm thinking in 5 years, if I keep these in here and I try and take it out of that penny sleeve, it's probably just gonna like rip the gold off, and it's gonna look awful.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised because it's sketching me out already. It's only been a few months.
That whole set had like printing issues too. Like just I remember awful, many like awful misprints and stuff, and it's just like. I mean, I even got like just minor misprints just from like buying regular old packs. Like I thought it was something special at first, but no, apparently like that it's just a common thing. I didn't. Suffice it to say, I've actually never really liked gold collectively as a rarity. Like almost since its inception, I've never loved it. I've had some that I can tolerate more than others, but yeah, I mean, I'm not huge on any of it, new or old.
In terms of the ghost gold that you mentioned earlier, those are a little bit weird, but those have like a major appeal because they were impossible to grade. So I think the Ghost Blue Eyes has like it's like a 9% or 6% PSA 10 like rate when you grade it because they were always so scratched up. So they don't even look that good because, well, the Blue Eyes was the tablet art, which a lot of people don't like, and then it's gold, and then it's scratched up. So like it doesn't look great, but it's really hard to grade. So that guy is actually worth a ton, but I agree that they were a little bit weird. And then it was in every pack, which was kind of cool, actually. I kind of like that idea, but I also, you can't do it too much or then there's ghost rares everywhere, you know?
Yeah, no one wants, no one wants, like, everything.
Common ghost rares.
Do you know what that actually reminds me of, too? Is that 10,000 Dragon thing last year?
Yeah.
Oh, God, like, I thought that was a really cool inclusion, the 10,000 Dragon, but I just remember, like, people, it just felt like it was, I don't know, like, what was the pull rate on that? Was it 1 per two cases or one per
It was
case?
it was actually easier than normal Starlights because there was only the Utopia and the 10,000 Dragon. So there was only 2 instead of 5. And then from what I saw, it seemed like the 10K came out a little bit more than the Utopia. So it was supposed to be, for Starlights, it's supposed to be 1 every 25 boxes, and then if there's 2, a specific one's 1 out of 50. So theoretically, it was 1 out of 50 boxes, but it seemed to come out like 2/3 of the time, and then 1/3 of the time was Utopia. So it was more like maybe 1 out of 3 cases or something like that. So it was pretty rare, but compared to like something like a Starlight Effect Veiler, which there was 5 of those in Eternity Code. There's 5 different Starlights, so it's 1 out of 25 times 5, so 1 out of 125 boxes is the actual ratio for that one. So it was more common, but it was still pretty hard to pull.
All right, so I've got a final question for you. If somebody wanted to get into the vintage Yu-Gi-Oh market, you know, like buying, selling, opening, what have you, what would be the place to start, like, in your opinion?
People ask me that a lot. It's really hard. It's a hard question, but I think I usually tend to go with, well, you're getting into vintage Yu-Gi-Oh, you probably have some sort of connection. So, what do you remember? Do you remember watching the show, and what cards did you have? What cards did you love? I usually say go for those cards, go for those sets or whatever that you really enjoyed back in the day. That way, it kind of gives you a starting point. So, like, let's say you loved a Red Eyes from Starter Deck Joey. Make your first card you buy a unlimited Red Eyes from Starter Deck Joey, or a first edition, or whatever you can get, and then that can kind of start your collection off, because you got to start somewhere. You got to start with something, and then after that you can you can figure out what you actually want, because just buying, I don't really like to just say go buy Legend of Blue Eyes, and it's like, if you don't care about Legend of Blue Eyes, then why would you buy it? Just because it's the first set or whatever. You want to start off with something that you remember, like opening or playing with on the playground or whatever, or watching in the show, and that'll give you sort of an interest that you can figure out what else you might want to open or collect after that.
Okay, yeah, I actually myself have been trying to like get into a little bit into like ultimate rares. I know it's like I picked a terrible time to do that, but because all that stuff it's getting high now. But
Yeah.
But that said, yeah, I mean, I've been like trying to do it just with like Cyber Dragon stuff, because that's something I like. I do like that aspect of like pick something that you like though, as opposed to just dump your money into just some random old pack and kind of
Right.
pray it all goes
Hope.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I agree. That's cool. But anyways, I guess that's pretty much everything for me. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Remember, guys, if you have not already, check out Ruxian34. He's got a channel. Obviously, I'll have it linked. If you're into, opening really any Yu-Gi-Oh product, I think he's your guy. He is the pack opener. So, yeah, any shout-outs, last words, anything else?
Well, thanks again for having me on here. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I just enjoy, doing this, talking about stuff. Talking about where I came from is interesting, because it's like a trip down memory lane. Like, how did I get here, So this was a lot of fun. Check me out if you guys are interested in openings or whatever. And, of course, check out the channel you're watching right now. It's a great one. And, of course, their main channel. They're doing a lot of great duels. I've been watching them. They've been awesome. So thanks again.
All right, sweet. Sounds good.